Is your child in swim lessons? Would you like to help them practice? Hi, I'm Margot Little and I've been a water safety instructor for 18 years. These videos have some tips on how you can help your child practice what they're learning. The first tip is to keep it fun and positive. Years ago, I focused on Learn to Swim because it's so important and in demand. And I found that while every child learns differently and has a different confidence level, they all respond to love and patience, as well as praise and positive persistence. So keep it fun and positive and don't give up. Your child will learn. So let's get started with explaining what your child is being taught so you can join them in the fun and exciting and very likely life-saving process of learning to swim. You're going to love this. Floating on back. Learning to float on back can be very easy or it can be a real challenge. Some kids are fine with the supine position. Some kids aren't. So please remember to be patient and positive persistence and praise, praise, praise. It can take a few days or a few weeks depending on your child's personality and past experiences. But always remember that your child can learn. It's all about relaxation, body position, and trust in you and in buoyancy. Learning to swim isn't based on talent, it's based on physics. So everyone can learn on some level. Some kids love floating on back. So if that's your child, enjoy. But a lot of children just don't trust the situation enough to lay flat. So they have to be eased into learning how to relax and float. I usually tell them it's like taking a nap in the water. Because my mouth has to be very close to their ear when teaching the back float, I've found over the years that using a quiet, slightly higher pitched, soothing voice helps my students hear me and trust me. That's just where their brain development is. So let's get started. First, squat down and hold your shoulder under the water a few inches. Then put your child's head face up on your shoulder and gently ease their back and legs out straight. Put one hand under their bottom and put your other hand over their abdomen. This will help your child feel secure. Slowly walk backwards, talking to your child, helping him to relax. You can talk about anything, the family pet, their friends, a pool party you might be planning for them once they learn to swim. Anything. If he gets fussy, pull him up right away. Head up, knees up. You want to listen and sympathize with your child's fear, but not dwell on it. This is where patience and kindness are useful, and keep being positive and persistent. Sometimes I have to use a little positive peer pressure as well. I say something like this. Okay, let's try again. What? You don't want to? You want to swim with your friends, don't you? They all had to learn this. Let's keep at it. You're getting there. Just relax and follow directions. You'll be floating soon. Saying something like that usually helps alleviate fear and gets the child trying and trusting, and eventually he gets there. I've found that feeling when your child is getting nervous is the best time to pull up. Waiting until he gets fussy teaches your child that he can control you. And since your child can't teach himself to swim, you need to stay in control. Gently ease your child into staying flat longer, second by second, until he finally starts to relax. For some children, this can take a few sessions, but don't give up. Remember, it's physics, not talent. Your child will get there. A fun game is seeing how long your child can stay on his back. Start with 1 second, or even half a second, and go heavy on the praise. You did it! You did it! You're working so hard. Yes! Okay, let's see how long you can stay on your back this time. Then start working on up to 10 to 15 seconds. Go heavy on the praise, no matter how long or how short he stays on his back. The kids usually understand that the praise is overdone, but most of them think it's funny and don't mind repeating the action a few more times, just for the laughs. Sometimes it helps my students if I tell them that 10 seconds really isn't very long. Some people have to float for an hour. Some kids just don't want to work on the back float until they know they can move around in the pool on their backs. They want to know that this is a useful skill. Be sure to talk up how useful the back float is, how great it feels, how they can do it all by themselves, and how they'll need it for swimming. One thing they can learn to do is they can scull on their backs with their hands close to their hips and their legs together to cut down on the drag. Then they can easily move around the pier, around their pool on their backs by sculling. They usually get excited to learn that. Now about their ears. I found that children are usually irritated by water sloshing in their ears. Most kids just prefer to start with ears out of the water until they feel that their bodies are floating, and then you can work on helping them put their ears in. But do avoid half in and half out. Usually that's what's irritating, the sloshing up and down. So either in or out, but not halfway. If your child complains about water in his ears, remind him that you can get the water out later and that he doesn't need to worry about that now. There are various ways to get the water out of your child's ears. I found that ear drops work every time, which can't always be said for the other methods. Ear drops of 1 part isopropyl alcohol and 1 part white vinegar dries out the water and kills any bacteria. There are also bottles of ear drops sold in stores that you can use. Have your child hold his head horizontal to the floor. Put 1 drop in, just a drop, and rub it in a few times. Then pour it out into a towel. Repeat for the other side. This should prevent swimmer's ear, which is a very painful experience of the outer ear. It requires a doctor's visit and 2 weeks out of the water to recover. In the hot summer weather, swimmer's ear hurts everybody. Back to floating. The goal you're working toward is to have your child floating on back independently. It's all about body position and trust. As your child relaxes, his body will float. You can ease up on the support of your hand under his bottom first. If your child shows signs of distress, put your hand back right away and try again once your child is relaxed. As you feel his body floating, tell him, "Feel that. Your body is floating." He may pick up his head and look at his body floating. This will throw off his body position and make him sink. I just make a joke of it and remind the kids that they can't look at their bodies floating. They have to feel it and keep looking at the sky. After his body starts to float consistently, you can then move his head to the center of your chest. I ask if it's okay if I move his head to make it more comfortable for me. They're usually fine with that. Mentioning my own comfort seems to help the child get his thoughts off his own fear and relax. There's some psychology in learning the back float. Once his body is floating, inform your child that heads also float. Show your child where the water will be on his face when he's floating. It'll be right here. Draw a circle on his face. Tell him to keep his chin up if the water is getting on his mouth. Now, accidentally letting his head go under the water may send you back to square one, building confidence again. It's easy to accidentally let that happen, so do be careful to try to avoid that. Always keep his face out of the water. In this position, you can add some interest by cradling your child and helping him kick his legs. Keep his knees straight and kicking from his hips, just like kicking on front. Now, as your child gets even more comfortable, you can slide your hand under his head. He might get scared again, so be ready to soothe those fears. I remind my fearful students that they can still breathe, and if they can breathe, they are okay. I ask them, "Are you breathing? Are you breathing? Can you breathe?" Yes, then you are okay. That's exactly how I say it, gently but firmly. Once your hand is under your child's head, it's just a matter of time, practice, and trust and buoyancy. You may have to get creative on how you build your child's trust. One way is to demonstrate how you can float on your back. That's what I do. I also use a Ken doll to demonstrate floating and body position. I tell the kids to watch as I bend Ken at the waist so his head is up and his bottom is down. He doesn't float. I also say, "Be flat like a pancake," or "Be flat like a piece of paper." As with teaching anything, it helps to compare it to something they already know. Let your child know that keeping his bottom and legs up is a constant effort. Our bottoms and legs naturally sink, so he always has to be pulling them up using his stomach and lower back muscles. His hips should be at the surface or just a little below. Sometimes kids' bodies twist. They can prevent that. Just gently tell him to keep his body straight and don't let it twist. Another challenge is that sometimes waves in the pool wash over your child's face. Try not to let that happen, but if it does, gently remind your child that if he should get water in his face, to blow his bubbles. If you don't get upset, it'll be easier for your child to stay calm too. It can be a challenge, but being able to float on back is essential for learning to swim. Just keep at it. You'll see success. If you have any questions about working with your child, you can ask your child's instructor. They should be able to help. If not, you can leave me a comment and I'll respond as quickly as I can. Enjoy your child and happy floating.